All right. This is a story about the haunted Watauga Bridge near Elizabethton, Tennessee. Now, this happened many, many years ago, about in the 1930s. So it would have been one of those older metal type bridges that the Watauga Bridge looked like. There was a couple up there named Tom Jackson and Wanda Smithson who were friends, and they'd always go and meet under this bridge. And later as they got a little bit more serious, they decided to get engaged. But they didn't really want to let anybody know anything about that, about the relationships. Kind of keep it back then secret or hidden till they actually got married. So they would still meet under this bridge, the Watauga Bridge, and um, so they'd meet certain days that was a little better than others, which wasn't so obvious that it had a lot of traffic. And on one Wednesday, they snuck out of their houses and they went down to the bridge. And this is about 35 days, you might say, before they were actually, going to get married. And so they met down at the bridge, and as they were walking toward the bridge, to cross to get back to their homes after they'd been there for a while, they came down the bridge, and both of them were looking as they saw this other person along the other way, uh, and it's surprised to see them heading toward them from the opposite end of the bridge. And and Tom's kind of like, "Hey, did you see that?" And one said, "Yeah, I don't. I hope it's nobody we know." It could be, he said. "Let's just continue on down through here. I don't know what to think of it." So as they came to the bridge, they saw wanted to know if somebody, hey, is it somebody we know? But it was still too dark for them to actually see. So, Tom kind of slowed down, and then it appeared to be a man, but they couldn't see his face. And he was big. He may be about a foot even taller than Tom. And if it wasn't for the moonlight, they, would have mistaken him for a monster. But they really couldn't see, so they were kind of nervous. And one kind of gripped him and said, "Hey, Tom, what is this?" And then suddenly the man stopped in his tracks. This scared them, and there's a large dude. And he went into his jacket, pulled out an object, which is actually a big knife. And they could see it from the glistening off the moonlight. "Oh, it's a knife, man." Tom said, "Run, Wanda." Both of them started running back across as fast as they could on the bridge. But, Wanda was a little slower, and he caught up to her. And then he just immediately cut her right in the heart, stabbed her right in the heart, killed her. And, Tom, she didn't have time to even say anything. So Tom was screaming and running. And then, his fiance fell into this murderer's hands, and then he took her and finally just threw her over the bridge. And Tom actually was there close to the guy, and he tried to hit him as hard as he could, and the guy just kind of laughed with some type of madman laugh. And then, he looked up again and he saw the moonlight, see the dagger's face, and he couldn't see what his eyes could understand. It was like a monster's face. It had no flesh, kind of like a skeleton or a bone, bleached white skull laughing at him. And as he was trying to get away, then the ghoul guy slashed his knife and cut Tom. And Tom tried to fight him off as much as he could. And there was this car actually coming down the road with two sisters and a brother. And Tom saw this and started to run toward it. And then the people stopped, but Tom, they actually hit him. He ran so hard toward the car and it just barely knocked him down. And then he jumped back in the back seat. Says, and the people said, "Hey, man, you're bleeding." He said, "Drive, man, drive, drive, drive." Tom yelled. Just as he did that, put the foot on the pedal, one of the sisters began to scream. Said, "Look, a large man in clothes opened the door. He's grabbing Tom." Her screams, she was screaming. They were all screaming, and her brother slammed on the gas, said, "Let's get out of here," and they sped out across there, and finally the guy had to let go. So they drove Tom to the hospital, and as they got him there, he tried to say what he could say, but he lost too much blood, and then he died about an hour later. And then, of course, the sisters and brother told him what they had saw, and then the police went back to the crime scene to see where they could find her bodies. Of course, they threw it over the bridge, and they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find any evidence of where her body was. They never found her body. And they couldn't even find any blood or anything on the bridge where this all happened. There was nothing there. And then from that day on, that bridge has always been known to be haunted. Now, the old bridge has been replaced with the concrete one today, but the old metal bridge is the one that was there back in around the 1930s. And this is, used to be a good hangout for all the kids and people to kind of sneak out like a Leather's Lane, but it wasn't then. It was always been known to be a creepy place to go because it's a haunted bridge. And, some people say that you can still see the black figure of this dude on the bridge, and then others can say that, they could feel like somebody's getting in the car in the back of your seat. And they believe that could be maybe the ghost of Tom or Wanda, and then the other monster would be the dude that's the skeleton face person. And so a lot of people, get scared when they go up there. It's very creepy. Now, I even know this story as a child because I actually went fishing in that river as a child and that bridge with my dad. And I'd heard about the story, but I always heard a lot about ghost stories, but I always looked around when I was fishing under that bridge because I thought, man, there might be something underneath here or somebody around here, ghosts. So I always kind of kept an eye on the back of my head, so to speak. But a really good place to fish, but a really scary one too. Very spooky.